everyone. Welcome to Explore Interest, presented by Visible Technology and Innovation. We're excited to have you all here today. I'd like to recognize everyone who is here experiencing Step Up for the first time. Welcome, welcome. Tell us where you're from in the chat and what you're excited to gain from this session today. We look forward to getting to know you. We are... I can't see the chat. Actually, let me see who's in here. Elaine is in Florida. Hello. Cute. Okay. So we are young adult programs, your guides as you explore interests and throughout your journey to success at Step Up. I'm Sophia, the Director of Young Adult Programs, and I'm tuning in from LA today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jess Mara, the Young Adult Programs Manager, and I'm tuning in from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aja, and I'm the Recruitment Associate, and I'm tuning in for Springfield, Illinois.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Rojas, and I'm the Data Science Associate for this team, and I am tuning in from LA. So before we get started, I do have a couple of friendly reminders. We'd love to ask that everyone take a moment and adjust their display name to reflect three things: your name, your role, and the pronouns you use. It's especially important to put down your role, whether you are a young adult, if you are from the ages 18 to 29, or mentor, so that we can sort you into the right breakout rooms later on. We also love if everyone who is able to turn on your cameras to please do so. Even though we're not physically in person, we'd love to create that feeling, and it supports us in creating an intimate, safe, and brave space for everyone. All participant mics will be on mute until we go into our breakout session, so feel free to add your positive comments and your reactions in the chat box at the bottom of your screen. Also, as a reminder, we will be recording this session to share out with folks who are not able to be here for today. Additionally, if you need support with anything, absolutely anything at all throughout the event, please feel free to message Aja in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I'd like to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsor, Visible. Visible is reimagining the way wireless should be. And they've been very generous and getting us moving with Explore Interest. So thank you, Visible, for your support and continued guidance and uplifting with our Step Up programs. Our hope for our time together is that you all learn how a multitude of roles in various industries can align toward a common interest, technology and innovation, and how to create a career path by following your interests, values, and skills with the help of our mentors today. We will start with a quick icebreaker game, then hear from a panel of industry experts, interest experts. You'll have the opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll go into breakout groups and do some mentoring and networking. I suggest that you have your LinkedIn profile open and ready to connect for that. We will then return for a larger group reflection and to go over some exciting announcements. Mentors, your role is to model participation by having your cameras on, being present, engaging in the chat, and sharing career advancement tips and resources with the young adult programs community. I'm going to pass to Jess Mara to lead us through our icebreaker game.
Thanks, Sophia. All right, so the name of the game is Guess the Job in Technology and Innovation. So we're going to put some clues as to what the job title could be on the slide, and you put your guesses in the chat. All right, we ready? So for our first one, this person values a seamless experience for all. Their interests are processes, efficiency, and continuous improvement, building out, maintaining, and scaling technical tools. Strengths and skills they possess are the ability to stay organized when multitasking across several internal and external projects simultaneously, ability to prioritize and balance operational and client-facing tasks to ensure successful execution, and effectively troubleshoot deployment issues with internal teams as well as partner IT teams. And their mindset is, we can make this a success. So drop those guesses in the chat. All right, we've got office manager, project manager, and giving operations lead. I love that, love that. All right, Chelsea, can you reveal our answer? Implementation project manager. Awesome job. That one was a little too easy. Let's see if we can stump you all with this next one. All right, so this next person values accessibility and inclusive products. Their interests are image creation, seasonal research, design presentations, crafting experiences that influence the industry as well as people's lives, making each human interaction, visual, audio, and haptic amazing. Some of the strengths and skills they possess are a blend of interaction design, visual design, and prototyping skills, comfortable crafting mobile, desktop, and TV applications, expert knowledge of user-centered design principles, extraordinary written and verbal communication skills, and their mindsets are design is everything. I see designer, graphic designer, user experience designer. Lots of designers, retweeting designers, business analyst, developer. Lots of great answers tonight. I don't even know, I wouldn't know where to start. That's awesome. Developer, all right. And the answer is product designer. Awesome job. All right, so our last job, value safe and secure assets. Their interests are forensics and information security and risk analysis. The strengths and skills they possess are cybersecurity, vulnerability management, software engineering, risk management, and data science. Bring order to the chaos of data from a wide variety of systems. Writing software for analysis and automation problems. Understanding information security risk measurement, ideally both qualitative and quantitative. And their mindset is, I will protect this. All right, pulling back up the chat, we've got cybersecurity analyst, data analyst, cybersecurity engineer, software security, risk mitigation manager, quality assurance. Great answer. It's like you all have the cheat sheet. All right, and the answer is vulnerability management engineer. Sounds pretty exciting. All right, well, thank you all for playing Guess the Job in Technology and Innovation, and I'm going to pass it back to Sophia.
Thanks, Jasmira. So fun. Okay, so let's get into our Explore Interest panel. And I'm so thrilled to introduce you to our moderator today, Cara Gooch. Cara is a lover of all things tech, community building, and schmoozing, finds joy in helping women reach and surpass their goals. Currently working as a change management practitioner with her dream company, Accenture, go Cara. She never looks at an obstacle as a mountain that can't be cast into the sea. Native to South Central Los Angeles, raised by two loving yet strict parents alongside two brothers and two sisters, Cara knew early on that her story couldn't stop there. She was introduced to Accenture at a Step Up Career Connections conference during her sophomore year of high school and has always kept the firm in her career gaze. Needless to say, that same 16-year-old is pretty proud of the wife, plant mom, and mother of twin girls and a fierce toddler Cara has grown up to be. And so are all of us at Step Up. Welcome, Cara. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you all so much for being here, to our fellow Step Up community members. And a special shout out to that woman that introduced me to Accenture at 16 years old. She is on the line today. I did not know she was going to be here, so I'm very excited. So our panel today is stacked with experts in technology and innovation. First off, we have Natasha Haskins. Natasha is a highly accomplished and driven woman in tech with extensive experience in managing customer experience teams and driving high levels of customer satisfaction. Don't we all need that? As a customer experience manager, she is known for her relational and collaborative leadership style, as well as her efficiency-focused approach to team management. Natasha's goal is to bring together her experience and expertise in customer experience management with her growing knowledge of AI to create innovative solutions that will drive the industry forward. She sees conversational engineering as a key area of focus, as it has the potential to transform the way that customers interact with businesses. Our next panelist, Fadia Kadar, please excuse me if I pronounced that incorrectly. Fadia recently joined Venice Music as Executive Vice President and General Manager, where she will oversee the company's services and community business, leading teams across A&R, artist marketing, sync and community, streaming commerce, and Web3. Fadia has rich experience working at the intersection of music and innovative technology. Prior to Venice, she was the global head of strategic partnerships at Clubhouse, where she developed and executed the onboarding strategies for partners across multiple verticals and created and amplified memorable social audio moments between creatives and brands and their audiences, including John Mayer, Nicki Minaj, TED, Netflix, and many more. Before Clubhouse, Fadia drove her key collaborations with artists from Taylor Swift and J Balvin to Billie Eilish and the Versus battles as part of the music partnerships team at Instagram. She also held positions at Twitter, Def Jam Records, and Complex Networks, in addition to several industry honors, including Billboard's Women in Music, Fortune's 40 Under 40, Adweek's Creative 100 list, and others. Wow. Rounding out our panel is Kristen Williams. As a driven self-starter, Kristen is an innovative visionary with integrity, determination, and the courage to challenge the status quo. And everybody that's on the line, we know that, and we do the same, don't we? Entrepreneurial mindset with an unstoppable passion towards changing the future of customer experience. She is a strong and powerful woman that has a strong work ethic, analytical mindset, and inquisitive nature, perpetuated by the desire for continuous improvement. A true go-getter who continuously strives to exceed expectations and succeed where success has yet to be achieved. Let's welcome our panelists. Okay, so I'm going to open this up to everyone. So thank you again for being here with us today, and I'm very excited to ask some of the questions that we have prepared, as well as any that may come up from the audience. So please feel free to add anything else that you would love to hear from our panelist members today. So my first question I would love an answer is to know more about the work that you do. Can you tell us, I'll start with Fadia. Can you tell us about your role in technology and innovation?
Definitely. So thank you first and foremost for having me. It's such an honor. You should just follow me around and read my background for me moving forward. But no, I appreciate you guys. So my role in technology and innovation, currently I'm 5 days in at Venice Music, and we are at the intersection of a music distribution company and a software app that helps streamline the ability for independent artists to get paid out. As we all know, at the end of the day, artists have a really hard time with cutting through the noise when it comes to distributing their music and collecting their money. So what we do is we streamline that process and have them come to us where they, not only are we distributing their music, but we're also collecting their royalties and their funds from them from different platforms such as like Apple, Spotify, Tidal, just to name a few. We also offer other subscription services to teach independent artists on the best way to handle their business. You can't just be an artist out here nowadays. You have to be about your business as well. So, you have to be tech savvy, innovation savvy, and business savvy all at once while creating. That's just the nature of the beast. So we're here to also educate and provide them with the resources and tools that they need to be as successful as possible.
Mhm. Wow, that teaching aspect that definitely comes in with everything that we do nowadays, right? So I'm really glad to hear that that's something that you all are taking on and spearheading in such a powerful way. I'm going to turn it over to you, Kristen. How did you turn some of your interest into a career?
Yeah. So I'd have to say that I've always been a fan of tech. Innovation, that's a given, but we'll talk about tech first. So, when it comes to tech, my love has always been just finding the next thing, right? What is the latest and greatest that's coming out? And testing it out, right? Trying it out, seeing what works, and as usual, seeing maybe what doesn't work, right? What I don't like, what could be changed, what could be better. And so, that's where my tech side has come in. It's come in a lot more since I've been on Visible. On the product side, I get to work with many, many different teams, right? So cross-functional collaboration all over. But one of the most interesting teams that I work with is the engineering side, right? So, learning about the back end, learning about system integration and how things actually work. That's what just keeps growing my tech side. But innovation, I've been in customer service for a long time. And I have to say that, one of my biggest goals and my biggest passions and dreams is to make a customer service experience that stands out from all the rest, right? All of the, been around 50 years, 60 years, change that customer service for the future that people actually like, hey, that wasn't bad, right?
I heard that. Natasha, would love to hear how you turned some of those interests into a career.
Sure. It's a funny story because I actually, right out of college, started my customer service journey. I started out as an agent, taking calls, and I moved my way up through college. It ended up being a career throughout college. So I was kind of fluctuating between a full-time job and taking full-time courses. So I kind of moved my way on up. And, I was very passionate about, dealing with complex issues and fixing them, finding simplistic and efficient ways to fix them. And for a consumer based, right? Everyone is a consumer nowadays. Everybody buys a product. And so at times it's frustrating. Those processes that businesses put in place are frustrating. And what's crazy is that, in me being this arranger and wanting to take complex issues, when people chat into our call centers, for example, that I manage globally, they're not trying to figure out how our days are going, right? Like they have problems and they want them solved quickly. So I began to be very passionate about that, but also wanted to know, how can I pivot this and make it more simplified and ensure that I'm providing a great member experience? And again, starting from an agent, I've learned how it is to be that agent who has to deal with those difficult situations. And then moving into that management role, managing supervisors that, have to manage the performance for those agents. And so I saw that through. What's crazy is that as I was in this customer service industry, I held the position of director. And I looked around the room every day that I got into the office and I said, what's the most powerful position and the most funnest position and the most respected position in the room right now? And it was vendor manager. And so Visible gave me that opportunity to become a vendor manager. I'd always worked on the client side. They call it BPO. And I always wanted to work for the actual company, but I always, I never took the shot. I was, really not advocating for myself, but I stepped out on a limb. Visible gave me the opportunity and I've hit the ground running since.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting because it goes so seamlessly into our next question. And I wanted to bring it back to you, Natasha. The question was stating what parts of your personality, such as your values and your strengths, indicate that you are on the right career path. And the fact that you just said you're an arranger and you have no problem in the way of pivoting. And so for you to kind of disrupt what it meant to just, okay, I'm showing up for my job. Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to clock out at 5 o'clock. Thanks a lot. But you asked that question of going forth and arranging for yourself what your career, what you wanted your career to be. And so you said you found out that it was director. So talk more into that space of being that arranger and bringing that out and bringing out that value. Then you want what you wanted to see in a person that was a director.
Yeah. So early on, one of the things that I did was I took the advice of a mentor and I took what's called Strength Finders, and it tells you what your top 5 strengths are. So arranger, executor, all 5 of my top, well, all of my top 5 are actually in the execute category. So I love achievement. I need to feel as though anything that I'm doing day to day, that I've achieved something and that I'm achieving not only for myself, but for the overall business or for the team that I'm working with, right? I also have arranger, positivity. And it's crazy because I'm so super positive. Like a lot of people, when they initially meet me, they're like, there's no way that you can just be that positive every single day. And, it was perplexing to me as well. I'm like, how the heck can I wake up every morning and just be so positive? Well, you have to be positive. You have to speak great things into existence, because having a negative mindset will only hold you back. And that is key. And the number one thing that I also want to say is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And y'all, I'm learning that at a very late age, right? So one of the things that I've always, instilled in my mind, or has always been instilled in my mind, is you go to college, you get that 4-year degree. After that, you graduate, you stick with this company that you're going to work with forever. It was so wrong back in the day to not hop jobs and take that initiative and say, okay, as a supervisor, I see that director role. Oh man, but I'm not going to get it and I'm not qualified. Well, take a training, go to a workshop, get a mentor, ask questions. And that's what I started doing. Being in that director role, I started looking around saying, where do I want to be in 5 years? And while I knew where I wanted to be, I didn't know how I was going to get there. And a lot of times people will say, it's on you. It's 75% you to take the initiative and it's 25% about who you know. I don't really believe in that. And I've been told that by the CEO of several companies. At the end of the day, I think it's 50-50. You have to take the initiative, but 2, like Step Up, you have to have people and women in tech that have your back and are willing to speak your name when you're not in the room, because they know how awesome, how driven, and how accomplished you can be in life in a new role. And so I think just with that mindset, it's always taken me to the next level. I'll say this lastly is, I've been in the customer service industry for a very long time. I won't tell my age, but for a very long time, since I literally was in college, and I graduated a while back. But with the launch of ChatGPT, it pegged my interest like nothing has ever. Customer service has always been what I wanted. With the launch of ChatGPT, guys, I started taking workshops, Pluralsight trainings, and I'm learning about automation. Artificial intelligence is very, very, it's like a thing that it's not saturated right now. Nobody has figured it out. And with the launch of ChatGPT, it's a huge area of opportunity for anyone to start taking trainings, grab the horse by the rein and really step into it. And I promise you, it would yield amazing results in the future. And that's the path that I'm on right now.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. Sophia, did you want to take over from here?
Oh, no, I was just snapping. That was such a good
Okay.
response. I can't wait to hear from the other panelists too.
Yeah, so Fadia, would love to get your thoughts here on how did you know that you were on that right career path?
I mean, my career path has been, intuitive, to be honest with you. I'm just like an intuitive leader and an executor. So I started in the fashion industry, went into entertainment and culture, lifestyle events, and then went into music and then technology. And now I'm at the intersection back at music and technology. So I knew I was on the right path because I followed my intuition, and it's always been about what I've been passionate about. So that's just the type of executor I am. At the end of the day, if I'm not passionate about what I'm working on, it's really, really hard for me to just move along in that process. The other part of it is I will stay in good faith in any position, but the minute I feel like the passion is no longer there, I'm on to the next thing. I don't believe in just sitting there and waiting it out in my world, especially in entertainment and music that's ever evolving. And now you add technology to the mix. So it's, I felt I was on the right path based on the fact of what made me feel good and what my interests were.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that innovation side definitely fuels the rest of us whenever the paycheck is okay.
That part.
So Kristen, would love to hear from you on that right career path. What does that look like? And what has that looked like for you?
Yeah, so I would say for me, I didn't get a chance to, like Natasha's point, I didn't get a chance to find out, my strengths and the empowerment that I have inside of myself, right? All of the good things, all of the parts of me that I feel really strongly about. I won't date myself either. But as we were growing, it was always, what are your weaknesses? And you got to work on those weaknesses, right? And so you're constantly just focused on all of, oh man, I need to be better at communication. I need to be better at this, right? But then, when I got to Visible, we, on the, with Verizon and everything, we took the Clifton strengths that Natasha was speaking about, right? And really the goal behind that was know your strengths and make them better, hone them. Just keep on with those strengths, right? Because you're already strong at that, so just make it better and better, right? And when I think about it, I mean, it is true because you think of your strengths are what help you stand out from the crowd, right? Like I can work on all of these things that I'm not great at, and maybe, forming good relationships and things like that, totally towards the end of my Clifton strengths. Don't tell anybody, but a lot of mine are a lot more analytical. So what I've done with those is, one of my top ones is deliberative. And when I first saw that, I was like, what am I going to do with that? Right. But really it means I anticipate obstacles. Right. So, with Chatbot, which is what I'm currently working on with Visible, her name's Connie, if you want to know. But with Connie, what I think of, I put myself in the member's shoes, right? And in customer service, that is always the key. You have to put yourself in the member's shoes, right? You have to think, okay, if I were experiencing this, how would I feel? And how would I want somebody to talk, right? And I mean, ultimately, obviously you want somebody to fix the issue, right? Quick, fast, but also be polite and, maybe chat about your day. And so with deliberative, and Visible, we're all digital, right? And so it's kind of a new experience. I started many years ago as a sales agent for small businesses with CenturyLink. And I have to say, I discovered not good at sales, not at all. Okay. I'm great at customer service, but I could not hit my goals to save myself, right? So I started to move into customer service, and that's really where my passion lies. I always say, like, I bleed customer service because it's a never-ending passion, whether the paycheck's there or not, right? I am just like, how can we make this better? And with Visible being all digital, that's where I get to claim my white space, I guess I should say. I've always, kind of heard that piece, as I'm growing and as I'm going through Visible is, just kind of find your own, right? Find not only what you're good at, but find that white space, that place where nobody's touched yet, and you can make it your own, and you can make it different, make it innovative, right? So that's what I would have to say has led me here. And I mean, it is, I don't know. I would say I don't know, it's not planned, right? But I mean, ever since I've been invisible, I mean, I just feel like just keep growing closer and closer to where I feel I'm meant to be and make that impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Because impact is probably the greatest currency that we can pay forward towards somebody else. And I like the way that you said, as we go and grow, and especially with you mentioning that white space, that untouched space, but also that space of like a playground, that space of, as our next question states, that zone of genius, which is defined as going and doing something that you love to do that makes a tremendous contribution to others. And so as we're going from and leading from this place of impact, what are some of the things that you love most about the work that you do and puts you in that zone of genius? And I'm going to direct that back to Fadia, if you can go there with us.
I think the ability to like really be part of the process from ideation to execution and having the proper team, like really march forward towards like one single goal is really, really like what gets me going. And, you know, again, 5 days in this role, but I'm already like 5 days in and so motivated. Like, we're a small company. It's a team of 40. My goal by the end of this week on day 7 is to meet all 40 people. And I'm on 27 right now, you know? So like, I have to know what's happening. And just from meeting so many of like my teammates across the company, it's exciting me that much more. Like, that's what gives me that motivation to keep going. And knowing that we're all like, we have the same mission, is to educate talent. It's to create and innovate on technology that exists out there, but has been broken, you know, and making it a better process for like independent artists and truly giving them an opportunity to be successful. So that's what keeps me going and keeps me in my genius zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting to see the transcendence and the intersection from that customer experience side, from Kristen and Natasha, as well as you, Fadia, of leading from the front and leading from the place of where something is broken and how can I fix it? And that's the definition of innovation, right? So you all being in this space together is probably the best thing for all of us listeners to be a part of. And I'd love to direct the same question to you, Natasha, on what is it that you're loving most about the work that you do, and when do you find yourself in that zone of genius?
That's such a great question. I think for me, I find myself in that zone of genius when I have cross collaborative partnerships. And so just to kind of piggyback off of what Fadia said, I love the initiative that she's taking, right? Because you have independent artists that typically get the short end of the stick, right? They have to deal with attorneys, they have to deal with managers, and they don't get anything at the end when they're the ones doing the majority of the work. With Invisible, we are the first cell phone service in an app. I remember when they first pitched me the idea, I had to sign an NDA and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is not real. I thought it was like one of those scheme type of jobs. And when I stepped into it, what was great was knowing the impact that if this business could really launch and be the first ever wireless service in an app, we don't have any stores. So if you need customer service, you're chatting in with somebody. That is innovation. Then I could truly, make an impact, not only to myself and my overall career, but in the cross collaborative partnerships that I have. And kind of like also to Kirsten's point, I work with product individuals. I work with engineering individuals, marketing individuals. I mean, they're shooting video content. We used to only deal with influencers from a marketing perspective. We open that up to like commercials. So just going through that journey and, being able to be a part of it has been an amazing experience, I think, for me, that I can be able to just kind of share with you all. And again, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. This opportunity would have never been with me if I had never just taken the initiative and then thought, oh, this job is real, right? Like, let me give it a chance, because I am truly feeling the impact now.
Mm-hmm. And rounding out with you, Kristen, that zone of genius, that white space, what does that look like? And how do you know that is impacting just that heart's fire for you? Because, that's a reason for us to get up and log on every day.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I was thinking about, this question and what I love most. And I have to say, honestly, it's the challenge. It's not only what can we do, right, to make a better experience, customer service wise, but how can we make it a memorable experience? Not only did we fix your issue, right, or answer your question, but how do we do it in a way that made you kind of sit back and think, wow, I actually enjoyed that, right? I work on, Connie, right? And so as I'm thinking as a member, I'm thinking, okay, I'm in this situation. It can go, one of two ways, right? We always talk about it as like happy path and unhappy path, right? So happy path, yeah, hey, that's what we're always shooting for, right? What do we get that we've got to, take on as a challenge? The unhappy paths, right? The things that go wrong, that break, that didn't work like we kind of expected them to. And so, for me, it's the challenge, and it's solving that puzzle. What piece are we missing, right? What does that piece look like? And what kind of experience will that piece provide? And it's a fine line sometimes, especially with a chatbot, right? Not a lot of people love chat, at this time, right? We're used to talking on a phone. I want to talk to a person, right? I don't want you to fix my issue, just get me to an agent. And so one of the biggest challenges that I have to overcome is trying to catch that member and show them, hey, we can handle this for you right here. You don't have to go to an agent, right? Before they type agent, right? It's a little different than pressing 0 or saying representative. But you got to catch them right on and just let them, experience the new era that we're coming into, right? Which is, hey, you got agents, right? Let's let them handle the really heavy stuff. Let's let the chatbot help you handle just the quick things and you're back throughout your day.
Heard that. I heard that. And I'm going to keep the mic with you, Kristen, just to round off our questions before we try and have some time for a Q&A portion. So I would love to hear from you that biggest piece of advice that you may have received on your career journey. And if you could do it again, what questions may you have asked a mentor sooner?
Okay. So I have to say, I think the best piece of advice that I received for myself, even going back, one of my biggest strengths is learner. So I love learning anything and everything, right? And really what matters is when you're learning, you want to become the subject matter expert, right? You always want to know anything and everything about the subject that you're studying. And it could be anything, right? But in order to talk about it, you have to understand it inside and out, right? And so the best piece of advice that I got was learn it and know it better than anyone else, right? Learn it and know it in a way that you think about it in your sleep, right? That you could talk about it, no matter what conversation you jump into or what meeting you pop into, right? Know it in a way that people will look at you and know, hey, this person knows everything we need to know about this, right? That was really big for me because, especially being in the tech side of career and growing, coming up in Visible and things like that. As a female, a lot of times, you feel you gotta read the room, but a lot of times it's a lot of talking back and forth. It's a lot of, hey, I'm an expert. No, I know this. No, I know that, right? And you're just trying to be like, hey, I kind of know, listen to me, right? And so when you speak with the knowledge and just show everyone that little piece that you know everything about what they're talking about, you don't have to try to butt in. You don't have to try to fit into that conversation anymore, because now they trust you. Now they believe that you know what you're talking about. And I feel like that's been quite successful for me. Things that I would have asked, there's a million things I would have asked a mentor that I think about now, and I'm just like, even things I'm learning now, right? Which is I would say one of my big questions I think I should have asked a long time ago is really understanding the game. And I mean the game in the sense of running businesses. What is in that business mindset, right? Businesses there's no end game. And so when you think about it that way, you have to plan that way, right? A lot of times people can be reactional, right? People can just be fighting and driving for this end goal, right? But there is no end goal. The end goal is to keep going and to not be kicked out of the game, right? Because then you're done. But the game of business, customer service, all of these things, it's never ending. So that's what you have to plan for. And I think it would have helped me out to ask some things about that early on and get a better understanding.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. Really do. Fadia, would love to go to you. And just to repeat the question, some of the best and biggest pieces of career advice that you have received over your journey. And if you could do it all again, what are some questions that you may have asked a mentor sooner?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a very non-traditional career path. One thing I wish I did have was a mentor, or I interned early on in my career. Unfortunately, I didn't. So that's why it's important for me to give back and be in these kind of spaces and conversations. And the reason why I didn't, not for nothing, is just I kind of jumped into what I thought I knew because, again, passion driven here. And interest focused. So I kind of knew I was into fashion and just jumped into it and saw a a gaping hole in Atlanta at the time in the fashion scene, and just kind of like learned as I went. And that's been the kind of like the theme of my career. Like I'm a train on a train track and just laying down the tracks of my career as I go along. And though that's great and it's worked out for me, I think if I was to do it all over again, or anyone that I have a conversation with, I'm like, if you can't intern somewhere and if you can't get a volunteer, get a mentor, volunteer, and volunteer as much as you can in different fields of areas of interest until you find what you're interested in, and then pursue it full time. Like that's the best way without having to commit 6 months of your life potentially as an intern or anything like that, is through volunteer programs. And the best piece of advice that I've gotten in the past was a friend of mine. One time I was complaining about something like in a role that I was in. And she was like, Fadi, you know what? Sometimes what you're good at, you don't get to choose, it chooses you. And you just have to like really tap into what you're good at. Like the universe is telling you, people around you are telling you, your managers are telling you what you're good at. And sometimes you just have to like look outside of who you are in your head or where you think you should be. And people are going to see you for who you are, and they're telling you through their actions. So just like tap into that a little bit more. And when she said that, it helped me change my perspective on my career. Like instead of complaining about something like, oh, well, I don't even really like doing this. It's like, but I'm really, really good at it. And maybe there's a reason why. Like, what don't I like doing? And how can I work on that and make it better? So that's, I would say, like some of the best advice I ever got.
And I love that advice because it definitely comes back to me of just a call out of, if I haven't seen that come through from someone else speaking that into me, may I be that for someone else. Exactly. Right. It's speaking that life over them. So I appreciate you for sharing that, Fadia. And to round us out, Natasha.
These women are so amazing. They're empowering me. So I really appreciate all of the feedback because I'm taking it in. I think, what's crazy about, some of the similarities is that I initially started out my journey from a volunteering perspective as an intern for Destiny's Child. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, so I interned for Music World Music. I wanted to go into A&R. I wanted to write songs, and I found that I just wasn't good at it. I mean, I thought I was Beyonce. I was like, my name is You Don't Say. And, it just didn't work out. And so I think one of the things that kept me going was speaking things, all things into existence. You have to speak positivity into existence because, to Fadia's point, the universe will tell you and give you that guidance, but you can't hold down a negative mindset or you're only going to hold yourself back. Overall, I think just I've been empowered to be a leader, and where I get gratification from is seeing others succeed. So while I started out as that chat center agent, as I became a leader, I wanted to invest in others. And it's because I didn't have that same investment, right? Like I'm a mother of twins. I'm a single mother. I have a child. One of the twins is autistic. So being a single parent of a special needs child, that's driven me from a personal perspective, but from a business perspective, what's gotten me through all of it has always been to keep a positive mindset. And I think, there's two things that hit home with me when it comes to like what I've been told from a mentor. One is to speak all things into existence, right? All positive things into existence. And then just recently, you never will stop getting great advice. And I've said it a couple of times, so you probably know what I'm going to say. And it's, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's never too late. You don't have to stay in a career that doesn't make you happy. Wake up doing what you love every day, and that will continue to octopus out to different aspects that will bring you gratification. And, just continue on with your career journey. I think that's the biggest advice that I would like to share.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, what a wonderful panel this was. I encourage all of you to continue to be learners and take from these women's examples because they're here for that specific purpose. And thank you to our teams that are listening and felt all of it today. So I'm going to pass it back off to Sophia. Thank you so much for this honor of being your moderator today.
Thanks, Cara. You did such a great job. And thanks. What a fabulous panel. So many gems. It was, and just like got so motivated and inspired the whole time. Awesome. Appreciate all of you. So if you had any questions for our panelists, we are going to go into breakout rooms where you'll be able to meet more mentors, women in our Step Up network that work in technology and innovation. So you can ask your questions there, and Paige, we're good for the breakout rooms, right? All right. Thank you so much. So we will see you back in at the 15-minute mark after. Yeah. Have fun.
All right, I think we should all be back. So welcome back, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed your breakout room as much as I did mine. So now it is time for our share out portion. So we'd love to get a representative from each group to share out some mic drop moments or some gems that you talked about in your room. And as always, I didn't get a chance to ask someone. So Octavia, can I put you on the spot to share out from my room if you don't mind?
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
Thank you.
Today, in our breakout room, what I have gotten, well, the question I asked was really about networking overall. I took a lot of notes. And what I learned was that, you can look at networking as just like, building the amount of people that you know. But once you're really intentional about other people's time and your own time, that's how you can build genuine networking, like understanding who are your closest people and who needs to be in that outer shell. And then also understanding the difference between, your mentors versus your advocates. I think those are my biggest takeaways when it comes to networking that we talked about in our break room today.
Perfect. Perfectly put. Thank you so much for sharing. From Sophia's room, do we have a representative?
Can I ask Stefania?
Sure, I definitely would ask help from anyone in my group because I always forget when I'm on the spot. But yeah, we talked about a lot of really cool things today. First off, big shout out to all the amazing people in the room. You guys shared a lot of really valuable insights, and I'm gonna process a lot of it as I come off this event. But one of the question that I did ask was around like imposter syndrome. While I'm currently in this on this journey of like kind of transitioning into this space, a lot of the times there's like questions around whether like I should be here, do I belong, like all those voices start popping up. And I got some really great advice around how to like either minimize it or like just still push through it. There was a comment, and I do apologize that I don't have the names on deck. I'm really bad with names, sorry. There was some advice around kind of like breaking it down to the root of the reason why you feel that specific way. And I think that's something that I kind of like had an aha moment of like, why am I in that headspace of like not feeling like I belong? There has to be external factors that I'm not necessarily looking at, as well as like, if you're doing something that's going to push you to grow, it's going to require some fear and etc., which is going to make you feel like you're in a very uncomfortable space. But it's also the advice that I received was just push through it. We had a conversation around breaking into tech. As a beginner, I am transitioning from the healthcare space. I specifically work in the eating disorder space, and I'm trying to transition into tech and figure out a way to integrate both of them. And we talked about like some tools that we can use around like, first, you can learn some like non-technical roles first. Not everything has to be tech savvy because we all don't know how to code. But you kind of have to like start with some of like the non-entry spaces. Definitely look into certs. It's a great initiative for someone to see that you actually like took that on when you were like freshly like don't know anything. You're like, I'm gonna go get a certification. Like that's a good initiative to have, and it reflects really great on you. Did I miss anything? Team, would you like to help me out a little bit, please? Nope. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's about it.
I was about to say, I think you covered it
I learned
beautifully.
great things. So yeah.
Thank you, Stephania. You covered that beautifully. I feel like I was there. So thank you for dropping those gems and aha moments as well.
Of course, of course.
All right, everyone. So it is our time to hear from our young adults, our 18 to 29-year-olds. So for our poll questions, mentors, we would also love to hear your feedback. So feel free to email sophia@suwn.org if you have comments, but these poll questions are specifically for our young adults. All right, so they should be popping up on your screen. The first question is, after the session, how confident do you feel about exploring a career based off your interest? Much more than before, equally as much, less than before, or much less. All right, question 2, in which ways did the mentors, both panelists and breakout room mentors, maximize your experience in this session? And this is a select all that apply. They helped me feel motivated. They helped me learn new skills. They helped me gain access to places and spaces. They helped me in ways not listed here. They didn't help me in any way. Perfect. And before I pass it off to Aja for next steps, if I could just ask mentors one more time to drop their LinkedIns into the chat. I know that we didn't get a chance to do that in the breakout room and would love for our young adults to be able to connect with you all. So if you could drop those in the chat while we go over next steps. Thank you so much. Passing it to Aja.
Hey again. So before we go, I just wanted to share some upcoming events that we have. So if you are asked where do you see yourself in 5 years, will you be able to answer it quickly? If not, what about 10 years? In Power Talks, Work Your Plan, we will tinkle how to confidently answer this popular interview question. You'll learn how to turn your goals into a plan and how to leverage your existing network and resources to support your ambition. Elizabeth would drop the chat for that event. And of course, we're going to keep on exploring. So our next Explore Interest panel is branding and partnership. And in this section, young adults ages 18 to 29 will connect with mentors and representing advertising, public relation, marketing, and partnership to evaluate how well different career fields align with personal value, interests, and skills. Mentors will share about the impact of their roles they make on the selective interest on branding and partnership. And the link will be in the chat shortly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aja. And Step Up is celebrating 25 years of mentoring girls in 2023. So we want to invite all of our mentors to become a part of our community and help ensure the next 25 years of mentorship. So please consider making a donation today to support Step Up's continued impact. You can scan the QR code on the screen, or there will be a link in the chat as well. And that brings us to the conclusion of our program. Thank you all for joining us today. This was another fantastic panel. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to our moderator. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did and enjoyed learning more about creating a career path by exploring your interest and growing your professional network. We look forward to seeing you all at the next event. Have a great evening, everyone.